So a wild and frankly disturbing story out of the state of Utah. A transgender woman and her partner are accused of kidnapping her child, allegedly to go take her to Cuba and get gender reassignment surgery. Madeline Rivera live in Washington with more on this. Maddie, what do we know?
Hey, good morning, Bill. So the case prompted the Justice Department to send a government plane to Cuba to bring the 10-year-old child back to the U.S. Federal officials say the child's biological father, Rose Inessa,
10 years old. 10 years old. Sad, man.
Effington, who's now a transgender woman, and her partner took the 10-year-old for what was supposed to be a camping trip.
So in other words, her dad and her dad's boyfriend or partner, or whatever you want to call it, took the daughter to Cuba. So her dad is trying to be a woman, essentially.
Alberta, Canada, late last month. But they never made it to their hotel or campground. Instead, after crossing the Canadian border, the couple allegedly flew from Vancouver to Mexico City. Then they took another flight from Mexico to Havana. All of this happening, by the way, without the knowledge and permission of the child's biological mother. Court documents don't state whether Rose and her partner were actually...
You know what's so sad about this? Like, we got to put biological in front of a mother. We know, in this case, right? Because, people do have stepmoms. But in this case, it's just her mother is the woman. And because her dad is trying to be a woman, it's like now you got to put all these adjectives in front of it to make it make sense. It's mind-boggling, man, the depth of confusion and the trickery that goes on with a lot of these people, because it's not all of them, but it's a lot of them. The fact that they want to do this to a teen, like, why? Like, you kidnapping a child to change, like, to change their biological makeup? It's like the evil in the father wants it to exist and put into the child. It's sad, man. That is wild.
Planning on getting the child gender-affirming surgery in Cuba.
10
but the
years
FBI
old.
says they found notes at the couple's home with instructions from a D.C. mental health therapist to, quote, send the therapist the $10,000 and instructions on gender-affirming medical care for children. Rose's partner had withdrawn that exact amount in late March, per the complaint. Family members of the 10-year-old boy say they were worried Rose had manipulated him to identify as a girl. Rose's brother tells the New York Times she had been pushing for the child to get transition surgery since he was 5 years old. This seemed to be clearly all be coming from Rose. Rose's brother says it was heartbreaking and hard for me to see. Rose and her partner have been charged with federal international parental kidnapping laws. They'll face the remainder of their court case in Utah. Bill.
Good. Like that guy said, lock him up. Like, gender affirming surgery in another country to a 10-year-old child is wild work. Lock them up. And they try to be so sneaky, going from one place to another and communicating encrypted ways so that they can get away with what they're doing to keep the mother on the outside. And just do this wickedness to this child. Like, let's just call it what it is. Trying to change a child's gender at 10 years old when there's so much research out here proving that a lot of these children who are getting on these hormone replacement therapies, getting hormone blockers and all this kind of stuff, getting double mastectomies, they're regretting it at an all-time high. Suicide, depression, it's all like it's recorded, it's bad, but they're not sharing that. They're not sharing that with the public because, of course, there's an agenda at work. And I know, like, I'm not trying to sound like a conspiracist or anything crazy like that. I'm just calling it for what it is. It's evil. It's evil. It's outright evil, and it's confusing to the child when their parent is doing confusing and wicked stuff to where, like, the child's dad is like, oh, I don't know what I am. I'm a woman now. I'm gonna be just like your mother. What? Yo, I just feel bad for the child because obviously they're caught up in this whirlwind of confusion and wickedness, and then are also put in a situation to where they're being, in a sense, brainwashed to do certain things. And this doesn't end well. It never does. Even people who are adults and get these surgeries, they're not happy. They're not. And I don't get why. Well, I do get why. Of course, they don't want it to get out that, hey, there are a lot of children, even adults, who are getting these sex changes, these gender, quote unquote, quote, change affirming surgeries, and they're miserable. Miserable. Maybe at some point what I'll do is I'll cover someone who had the surgery and they talk about it for themselves so you can hear it from them. But I've seen countless videos of individuals who've gone through these gender affirming processes, and they're like, they talk about the misery afterwards, like the deception of it all, like the shortcuts that many of these hospitals and these doctors and these psychologists and their psychiatrists and therapists take. In fact, I must have did a video probably within a year. I'm gonna have to try to find it and see if I could put it in the description. But it was a woman who used to work for one of these type of hospitals, and she was telling the doctor, hey, like, we're causing harm to these children and we need to stop it. And the doctor was like, I know, but what do you want me to do? It's just so sad, man. But one thing I do know is our God is a just God. And just because some people think they're getting away from it here, they're not. They're not. The Bible says it's better for a millstone to be tied around a person's neck and for them to be cast into the sea than for them to harm a child. God don't play about children, and we shouldn't either. We should do our best to protect them. We should speak up for them, and we should push back against these type of agendas. And I'm grateful that there's somebody who's fighting for this child, fighting for that child's future, their sanity, their clarity, and their natural biological state, so much so that the plans of the wicked father and his confusion will not be successful in this 10-year-old's life. You know, it's just really sad, but I'm glad that they got them, and they have been charged with federal, I like that, federal kidnapping charges. Like I said earlier, lock them up. Lock both of them up and throw away the key. But may the due process take place, and may the Lord protect this young lady and be with the mother of the child and the family. Anyways, y'all let me know what y'all think in the comment section, and I'll catch y'all in the next video.